Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a kind of special video because we have a guest. Hello, Zlata Brouwer.
Hello?
I hope your name was correctly pronounced.
Yeah. It's Zlata Brouwer. Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us something about yourself, what you are doing, what's your work. I can see violins in the background, and we are on a violin channel, of course. So possibly you have something to do with violins.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
Certainly got something to do with violins. I'm a violinist and teacher, and I play in several orchestras and have my own violin studio that you see here, which is a violin shop and violin school in the Netherlands.
Yes.
And I have a YouTube channel with over 250 video lessons in all kinds of topics around the violin and about violin playing. So that's what I do, everything violin.
Yes, nice, very nice. I know your YouTube channel from someone of my audience. She told me about your YouTube channel and that it was very helpful for her. And she started her violin playing just from your free videos. So
cool.
It's very nice to see that this really actually works out. She can play quite good now on the violin.
Yeah. Great, yeah, always nice to hear that.
Yeah. So we will talk today a little bit about bow technique and tone creation. I will ask some questions. Let's start with why is it important to work on the bow arm from the beginning when you start playing the violin?
Yeah, well, actually you can compare violin playing to singing, and then the bow and your bow hand are the voice and your mouth. And the violin is actually the lungs. So if you can play incredibly fast with your left hand and incredibly in tune, but your bowing technique is not sufficient, then it will just not sound good. And yes. Whatever you're playing, if it's popular music or classical music, if it's something easy or something difficult, the most important thing of all is that it sounds good.
Yes, of course, yeah. I also heard once a funny story about violinists playing very out of tune, but with such a good sound that the audience loved it. So we will get to that in tune playing later, but
okay. Yeah, don't use it as an excuse to not play scales, but
yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. It's very important from the beginning to study the bow, because the sound also makes it pleasant to the listener, and that's what we all want to do. Please the listener. Yeah, the next question is, what deficiency is the most prominent when you think of violin beginners and when you think about the bow arm especially?
Well, I think if beginner players start playing the violin, they mainly use their shoulder to bow. Yes. And what you get then on the violin, if you get mine, is that if you keep your wrist and finger stiff and you do this, then the bow goes everywhere.
Yes.
Well, the first step to create a good sound is to bow straight, which means that your bow is always in and then I think 180 degree angle, 90 degree
yeah.
Angle with your string.
Yes.
So it's not like this or like this, and also your bow is not going over the string like this. And the thing is that, and I'll show you my professional made graphic, and that's this.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, your arm is naturally making a circle, and you want your bow to go straight. So you have to make several movements with your fingers and your wrist and your lower arm, and mainly keep your upper arm still or use it for the string changes. To be able to create a good sound. So the first step is bow straight.
That's really important. Yeah. I know this movement from my students as well. I always call it the banana. And they find it very funny when I tell them they have to do the other banana with the arm. The opposite. It feels like you're not bowing straight, because of the movement you are correcting your natural movement,
Yeah, you have to correct this round movement of your arm. Even if you keep your upper arm still, then still your lower arm, if I could hold a pencil, then I'm still making a circle. And you want to bow straight, so actually my hand has to make from around. So you have actually 2 circles in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things going into that, I think. Yeah. Let's go to one of the factors or pieces which are important for a straight bow stroke. What role are the fingers of the bow hand for a straight or good bow stroke?
Well, there are 2 functions actually of the fingers in general. And that's first of all to make this round movement into the straight movement. And if you are a beginner and you want a feeling of that, I'll just see if I can show you. Then let someone hold the bow in a 90-degree angle on your violin and just move your hands up and down the bow. Then you have to make this straight line. And then you'll see that your fingers make this movement.
Yeah.
And you really have to gain some strength and coordination and balance in your fingers to be able to do this. Because if your pinky is still uncontrolled and tensed, then this doesn't work.
Yes.
So that's the first thing, to make this round movement in a straight movement. And the second thing is to kind of round up the bow change. And what I mean by that is a lot of typical beginner sound is this. Probably recognize that from your violin studio, from your students. And what we want is that you keep the resonance in your violin and bow by moving your fingers like that. So you can make fluent bow changes, as we say.
Yeah. Also, what is the role of the pinky and the maybe also the ring finger? Maybe you can say something about that. Why is it so difficult for the pinky, the little finger?
Well, in general, if you do something in life, whatever, if you write or if you move a chair, your fingers are doing all the same. And in bowing, your pinky really has a role of itself to play. And in daily life, with your pinky, you don't really do something separate.
Yeah.
And
That's true. Yeah, it's just not a very good trained finger, and on the violin here, it has such an important role.
Yeah.
And
left as well as right. You really need your pinkies in violin playing. So you really have to make them strong, but not only strong in the sense of that your pinky get a lot of muscles, but mainly you need to be able to control the movement in them.
That's right. Yeah.
And in bowing, the difference is that actually your middle 2 fingers, so your ring finger, and they kind of keep the bow steady. So they're not doing that much. They're just laying there and keeping. Some people play a little bit like this or like this. That doesn't really matter.
Yes.
But what your pinky does is to smoothen this bow change.
Yeah.
And to make
it holds a lot of weight, right?
Yeah. And certainly at a frog, a lot of violins have a fear of the frog. They find it very difficult because you have the whole weight of the bow on the other side. If you're playing at the tip, it's more between your index finger and thumb, and your pinky doesn't do that much.
Right.
And just as with the 4th finger in your left hand, violinists tend to avoid doing something with the pinky. And that weakens it a bit more, makes it more difficult, and so on.
Very nice. Let's go to the next question. What in general are the some major factors to develop a good sound on the violin?
Well, a lot of people think that it's talent or magic or a combination of them.
Yes.
But actually there are 3 factors. And that's speed, weight, and contact point. And then balancing them out, which is different on every string, on every note, dynamics, every position, it's different. But in general, if you know that these are the factors that you're playing with and that you can control and see what's the best combination, then you can create optimal resonance, which means that your string vibrates as wide as possible. And that doesn't influence how high or low the note is, because that depends on the hertz. It gets a bit technical perhaps, but
it's good. Technical is good.
Technical is good. Yes. I don't know if the viewers.
It's interesting I think it's very interesting for every violinist. So The technical aspect is very much neglected sometimes.
Yes,
as you say, it's always about talent and magic and those things. But some things can really, you have to think about them. And I think talent has a lot about to do with that feeling for the contact point, for example, to make a good sound. Yeah.
And perhaps some people develop that earlier than others, or quicker, or whatever. And that's maybe talent. But in general, if you have the optimal combination in speed, and with speed I mean not how fast you play, but I mean that you're bowing, this is a high bow speed and this is a low bow speed, and you can do that in any way. Then the weight is actually, you transfer the weight of your arm through your index finger. So if you're using too little weight, you get something like that.
Yes.
And when you get more weight, and you get a sound with a core, playing in the string, a deeper sound, whatever you would like to call it.
Yeah.
Then contact point is actually where you are between the bridge and the fingerboard. And in the beginning, it's already a challenge to just stay there and go straight.
It's really a challenge.
Yeah, and even I see violinists that play for 5 years or so, they still don't do this. Course. And then they want advanced stuff on tone creation. But, you know, often just, you know, get out your violin, get in front of the mirror and see if you're really bowing straight.
Work on the basics. It's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a soloist or an orchestral professional player, but I studied violin and I play... as a profession, one can say, but I still every day when I practice make some adjustments on my bow and practice a straight bow and a good contact point and stuff like this.
Yeah, but I think everyone is doing that on every level. I mean, even the big soloists are still taking lessons and still asking feedback.
Especially them, because they are smart.
Exactly, that's why they are where they are, because they constantly ask feedback and they never think they're done. I'm not done by far either, but I'm constantly, and it's also very interesting to keep working on things.
Of course,
you know, it's nice to do. You know, if you like playing violin, of course.
And the skill gap is so high. So the repertoire of the violin, you can work. All your life and maybe 100 more lives. There's so much music and so much difficulty in the violin playing.
Certainly, and even within that repertoire, like Bach partitas or so, you can play them for your whole life and always find new stuff in them. Yeah, I'm
sorry, I'm getting off topics a little bit.
It's maybe interesting. We talked about a contact point, I think. So if you bow near the bridge, but of course the first step is to just bow straight in the middle. And even if viewers think they do that, then really check yourself in the mirror. Then you have this glassy sound at the bridge with lots of overtones, higher overtones. And then you get a more mellow sound at the fingerboard. And then what you need to balance is, for example, that you, if you are at the bridge, that you use more weight and less speed, for example. If you are here, you shouldn't use too much weight. But I think being aware of that these are the 3 things, and maybe add to it the amount of bow hair, how much you tilt your bow. But I think these are the big 3 things that if you experiment with them, and see what effect they make and just try things out, that you can already learn a lot about tone creation.
Yes, of course, Just experimenting with these factors, I think, is very helpful, and also not on a conscious level, you will learn from that. So when you do an exercise on the fingerboard with fast bows and then slow bows at the bridge, and after that you already have a better sound just from doing that. So I think it's very important to experiment with this and do some exercises and stuff.
Certainly.
What exercises do you recommend, and how frequently and how long should any violinist practice the bow arm day? Or daily,
Yes,
that you
daily.
say this. Of course, daily, everything daily.
Yeah, of course. We don't even need to mention it.
Yeah.
You can take a day off once a year, but
Once a decade.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I think the duration is a bit hard to. I think first of all you need to be always practicing your bow arm. If you're playing pieces or whatever, a lot of people get stuck that they find tone creation really important because they want to sound good. Most of us want to sound good.
Yes.
But what they do is that they focus on just hitting the right notes in the right rhythm. When they practice an etude or a scale or a piece or whatever. So you should really add bowing and tone creation to that.
Definitely, yeah.
Then what's really helpful is before you start playing that as a warming up, you take 5 or 10 minutes every day, depending on your total practice time. Of course, if you practice half an hour a day, you take 3 minutes maybe. And if you practice for hours a day, then you might want to take 15 minutes. And then what you can do is what I call the boring bowing exercise. And that is just bowing with straight bows, with whole bow, and just listening to your sounds, maybe played in front of a mirror, and just try to get that same full deep tone all the time. So from frog to tip, and you shouldn't hear if you're going down bow or up bow, and you want to make your bow changes as smooth as possible.
Yeah, that's a great exercise, just doing long bows. I also, with the watch, you can try like how long can you take those bows without cracking the sound. It's one of the best exercises for violinists and cellists maybe as well, and bass players, double bass players. Yeah,
certainly make it as long as possible, or just or just playing whole bows. And a lot of people think maybe playing a couple of years, they think, oh, that's too simple for me. But they even do this at the conservatory. So
of course, and I think you should experience. Everybody who is against like those kind of exercises should experience the effectivity of those exercises. So you play those whole bows, and after that you really feel like you don't have to work so much on tone anymore for that day because your bow is properly warmed up and stuff.
Yeah, it's like you're telling your hand, this is what I want you to do.
And the hand remembers. For some time.
Yeah, but you have to refresh its memory every day, actually.
Yes.
You're never done with this, actually, and you can always, you can always make your sound more beautiful.
Yes, and of course,
maybe a second exercise is short bow stroke at every part of the bow, and then mainly at the extreme frog and extreme tip. And maybe for beginners this is a little bit difficult, but you can combine it with the scale or something. That, for example, you play at the frog, then and then at the tip, something like that. You can make other variations, of course, as long as you just play short notes at the frog and tip.
Short notes are especially good for the fingers, right? Because then we warm up at the frog the fingers, and at the tip the fingers, and the whole bow is more for like the shoulder and the arm.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, you can get, I don't know if you're also bullied with that, the Sevchek School of Bowing.
Not the School of Bowing, but the bowing variations I had to play quite much, and I love them as well because they sound nice. I think the School of Bowing is a little bit dry.
No, not just a little bit.
Yes, it's like the driest stuff you can get, But I think it's very effective, and one should know it. Like, everything is explained there, but doing it every day, I mean, there's a limit.
But you can maybe find some exercises that fit what you do in etude or what you're struggling with, or it's useful. I don't do them daily as well. But
I wonder if there is somebody on this planet who played the whole thing, like note by note. That would be maybe a funny video for YouTube, like playing the whole Sevchek bow school of bowing from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And then the next challenge is to watch the video.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I think it's really a book where you just pick out things.
Yeah,
And
of course, yeah.
it's more like an encyclopedia than it's a thing that you have to go from start to end. But it can be useful for what it's worth, and it's you can download it for free, so you can see if
oh really? I didn't know
it fits
that.
you. Yeah, and I think those things, and then everything that matches the things you need to play.
Okay.
So that's it.
So that's it. Yeah. Thank you very much. It was very informative and very nice that you also showed on your instrument. So it's easier to understand, especially for beginners or not advanced players, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And some final words or announcement do you want to make?
Check out my YouTube channel, and maybe
what's the name of your YouTube channel? I will link it in the description anyways, but what's your name?
Well, it's actually my name, but it's called Violin Lounge, so if you look for that, you'll definitely find it. And I might have a little gift for your viewers, and it's a workshop, the 5 bowing secrets to a professional sound, and let's include a link to that. Then they can. It's free.
Nice.
So
So definitely to my viewers, you can check that out, and I will put the links in the description. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thank you.
For being here. It was a pleasure, and
for me too. Yeah, thanks, and good luck with your channel.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.